Hello, culinary wine students. Kirsten Fox here today on this Thursday. I have little grape clusters with leaves hanging on them as my green for the day. So happy St. Patrick's Day, which I know is traditionally all about beer, which is just great, and I have had my share of green beer. Today, however, we are going to just quickly talk about what wines to pair with soup, because it's kind of this odd food, and it's got a lot of different personalities that it can have. So fun to talk about that. But first, I need my wine. So today, I poured myself a glass of Pinot Noir I happen to have. It is called King's Ridge Pinot Noir. It's out of Oregon, and grapes are grown in the Willamette Valley. So just a little wine to sip while I chat with you. So it's an Oregon Pinot, so it's pretty light, and cranberries, pomegranate, with that back of earth that I just love Pinot for. So cheers. Happy St. Patrick's Day. So today, quick introduction. My name is Kirsten Fox. I am the CEO of Culinary Wine Institute. I am a sales rep for Southern Wine and Spirits, and I am headmistress of Fox School of Wine. As well, I blog for the Huffington Post about wine and life. So there's a quick intro. So what we're going to do today, let me get to, oh, my cats are fighting in the background there. So what we're going to do today is cover different styles of soup, and then how do wines match with the styles of soup, and then what's the most important thing to remember overall when pairing wine with soup. So let's look at that. So across the top of your screen, you will see soups, and it goes from the left to the right: lighter, medium, and then heavier. Down the left side of your screen, you'll see wines, and it starts at the top where lighter would be, to the medium, and then down to the bottom, which is heavier. So let's talk a little bit about why we have it set up this way. So as you are thinking about soups, you need to get your head into what is the mouth weight or the experience of this soup in your mouth. Is it a light experience? Is it a medium weight experience? Or is this a really heavy weight experience? Then we'll talk about wines in a second. So let me pull this next piece up. So when you think about light soups, we will often think about stocks or broth-based broth soups that don't have anything in them other than just flavors. It's a very light experience. Oftentimes these are served at the beginning of a meal. And then if you could look across to the next medium, we're also very familiar with broth-based soups with lots of things added. So these would be noodle soups, where you've got a lot of noodles in them with a broth, and often with vegetables or meat chunks in them. Although the broth is still a clear or a very light type of a liquid holding this all together. And then we move over to heavier, which is the thick soups. And some of these actually use potatoes so starches to bring the thickness of the soup up. We're also very familiar with bisque soups, which use a lot of butter and cream to thicken them, and chowders will use both cream and potatoes to thicken them as well. So these are really dense soups. And when as we look across the spectrum of soup from broth into the chowders, you almost can get a look at where they're used in a menu. So the broth-based soups tend to be the lighter ones. Then you've got the broth plus chunks that can kind of go both ways. They can be lighter at the beginning of a meal, or they actually might be the majority of the meal, like photos that you see now, where they're the majority of the meal itself, or you get into the chowders and the bisques, and those are typically, those are the meal themselves. I mean, these are huge, dense, rich soups. So then let's look at the wines on the left. Wine has weight in your mouth as well, just like soup does. And before we kind of identify these three different levels, I wanted to show you a quick video. And if you haven't seen a video through my webinar before, the delivery of the visual is not very good, but the audio should be clear. You should be able to understand it. So I'm going to go ahead and play that video. It's award-winning, and we've won great great awards for the engagement from this video, and really exciting from a lot of different entertaining outlets. So here is the video. Let me get that up and let me start it. Here we go. So here we are with the milk, and milk has weight: skim milk, whole milk, and cream. Let's focus on that for a minute. Here's our skim milk. We call it blue milk in our house. So here it is, and we're swirling it in the glass, and you can see that it hardly sticks to the side of the glass. Literally, you can see through this glass, it's almost like we didn't swirl it at all. Skim milk is a very light-bodied milk, and it goes away very quickly once you drink it. So let's move on to the whole milk. So now we're going to swirl the whole milk, and boy, you can see that in the glass. You can see that there's milk still on the side of the glass, and this is just like you'd experience in your mouth. You'd have the flavor of the dairy, but not a ton left in your mouth, but certainly more than the skim. And then let's look at the half and half. I love a good shot of half and half in my coffee. So we're going to take that and we're going to swirl it. Now look at the side of that. That is really sticking, and you can see that there is a lot of density left there. There's not only flavor, there's actually a product left on the side of that glass. So this is actually really interesting in terms of the weight, because wine has weight and body just like milk does. So once you figure out what weight the wine has, you'll be able to pair it with the foods on the menu at your restaurant. Well, there's our little video about the weight of wine. And basically, wine has that same light, medium, and heavy. And if we go back to our grid, you can see that light whites and sparkling whites are paired with the broth or the stock, and they're both the same weight in your mouth. Same with medium white and a light red. So basically, that would be a Sauvignon Blanc or a Pinot Noir in terms of that level. The light white would be a Pinot Grigio, and a sparkling certainly is a Cava, say, from Spain. And so, and then the heavy white would be more like a Viognier out of Australia, or a Chardonnay, certainly. Or a medium red would be a Merlot, maybe a Malbec, depending on where they're, really how dense they are. And some of the Italian Chiantis that are from Chianti Classico can be nice and a medium weight wine. So when we talk about weight in our foods and in our wines, the most important part to remember about all this is same weights, great mates, which basically means they are the same in your mouth, so they don't overpower one or the other. If you have a light broth, you want a light wine that doesn't. You can imagine if you taking the milk example, if you took that milk example and you took a sip of the whole milk, and then you tried to go back and taste a spoonful of extremely light fish, a nice fish broth, you'd be very, very hard to taste. It would be very hard to taste it because of the weight of the milk in your mouth. So the same thing with wine. You want them to play together in your mouth. So what I also have for restaurant owners, managers, servers, is I have a free resource, well, 3 free resources for you if you want to use them tonight. They actually will help you ramp up sales immediately at your restaurant or in your own pocket. And what you want to do is go to wineprofitpackage.com to download them. And those are available all the time. You can go back and download them as many times as you want. And they are resources that you'll be able to put in your check holder or in your pocket tonight, or you can hand them out with your staff at your pre-service, and basically use those immediately for increasing your wine sales tonight. So next week, we are going to a very interesting topic, which is, what is the most important resource to use when talking about wine to customers? How much does this tool help, and how do you learn to use it more? This is one of the subjects that is near and dear to my heart. It's extremely important for your staff, and one that will help your sales go up if you guys start engaging this tool, this resource. So cheers, happy St. Patrick's Day, and good luck at your tables. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.